So let's bring in former White House Deputy Chief of Staff and Fox News contributor Karl Rove. Karl, you've been in these situations where you are trying to build a team for the White House. What do you think of how this process is going so far?
Well, clearly different than 8 years ago. Yeah. I mean, he's moving fast. He's prioritizing the national security arena. He's making history, first woman chief of staff. The pace is good, and it shows some work on the part of both the transition committee led by Howard Lutnick, and it also shows the president understands how important it is to get a strong early start. So far, so good.
Yeah, you know, it reminds me of the camera that we had at Trump Tower, watching people coming and going literally every day. And so a huge difference, and we talked earlier about the fact that President Trump hadn't even spent much time in D.C. He was a real New Yorker, obviously a man of the world, but hadn't spent a lot of time in D.C. So, you know, was building his team up here in New York out of his offices at Trump Tower. But, you know, at this point, there are big decisions to be made. Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and Attorney General, probably the three biggest. Your thoughts on Rubio as this potential nominee, and then any thoughts on AG or Defense?
Well, Rubio would be, if he is selected, an excellent choice. He's widely respected. He's a thoughtful member. He's been on the Foreign Relations Committee. He's been on the Intel Committee. He's vice chairman of Intel. And look, you want think about it, the national security team of the NSC director, the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of State. So far, if these two, Mike Waltz and Marco Rubio, are correct, that's a very strong start. And again, I emphasize a quick start. The president has been talking to people for weeks and months about, if I were to be elected, who should I pick for X or Y or Z? He's been casting a broad net. Now, that may have just been conversation with people who are his supporters and advisors, but he's clearly moving rapidly to execute that. And as Mr. Colby said, it sends a message. The fact that he prioritized national security, that he's got somebody like a Walz and like a Rubio, is going to send a message to our allies and, more importantly, to our adversaries that the president's surrounding himself with first-rate people.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the last picks. You know, NSA Mike Flynn, Sessions was the Attorney General, Secretary of State was Tillerson. Very different approach this time, very different crew.
Well, and it was also much later. And that's one of the key differences is, having been there, he knows how to get it done, and he has spent a lot of time talking to people about this, which means he spent a lot of time talking about it. I mean, thinking about it himself.
It's I was told that it is very organized, that there have been people who have been coming up with names for the transition. He didn't want to talk about transition at all on the campaign trail. He said, I'm too superstitious, I don't want to go there. But there have been a lot of teams and work in case he won, and they appear to be very ready to go. Karl, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.